guys, welcome back to another one. If you are new to the channel, I am Gold Penny. I do new car, truck, SUV reviews on YouTube, and today we are in the brand new 2026 Toyota Corolla Cross, courtesy of Younger Toyota in Hagerstown, Maryland. For more information on their inventory, please feel free to check out the link in the description box below. So we are in this one today because this is quite possibly the very most reliable SUV in existence. You have a new grille pattern for 2026, a new color option, new center console design here. I'll show you guys that later in the video. New wheels and plenty more actually as well. So quite a bit new for this model year. You also still get 2 years or 25,000 miles of complimentary maintenance, and all-wheel drive is available, of course. So ultimately in this video, we will be testing out and going over everything about this one, from acceleration to braking, steering feel, ride quality, sound system, exhaust clip, all that fun stuff. So having said all of that, what do you guys say? Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, let's start with pricing. So as you can imagine, there are a few different trim levels for the 2026 Corolla Cross. First one, you got the L starting at $24,635, which by the way is a $600 bump from the 2025 model year. LE for $26,965, and lastly the XLE being the one we are in today. This one goes for $29,560, and so that was all pricing for the front wheel drive configuration. If you wanted to add all-wheel drive, you can do that. Simply add $1,450 to any of those prices. And so in case you were curious, last year the all-wheel drive option was $1,300, so that went up a little bit as well. But regardless of trim level that you go with, the power plant on the Corolla Cross is going to be the same. Powering the beast is a 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder. Yes, that's the exact same engine as the Toyota Corolla. That's why I'm saying this is quite possibly the most reliable SUV in existence, because Corolla is dang reliable. But 169 horsepower at 6,600 RPM, 151 pound-feet of torque coming in at 4,400 RPM. Power set to the front wheels or all wheels through a continuously variable transmission. 0 to 60 time is going to come in at approximately 9.3 seconds. MPG numbers then coming in at 31 in the city, 33 on the highway for the front wheel drive, 29 city, 31 then on the highway for the all-wheel drive, taking regular unleaded fuel. And so now, having got all of that out of the way, what do you guys say? Let's go ahead and find a straightaway. Let's put the acceleration here to the test, and let's see how quickly we can get our new 2026 Toyota Corolla Cross here up to speed. All right, found our straightaway here in 3, 2, 1, go! Interesting. All right, it is slow. There's no doubt about that. However, the CVT kind of simulated or attempted to simulate an automatic a little bit there. So that's why I was kind of like, this is kind of interesting, because some of them do, some of them don't. It's always a toss-up. You never know what you're going to get, but it tried. I kind of like that. So it was kind of fun, but I mean, it is slow. Don't get me wrong. You'll get used to it, though. It's one of those things like you get used to the visibility in a 350Z or a Camaro or something like that. You learn to live with your car and how quick it is and all that fun stuff. So it will be fine. You'll be fine merging onto the highway. Just not the quickest thing in the world. But anyways, to go along with that acceleration, as always, braking is equally important. And so up front, you will find 12-inch ventilated front discs. In the back, 11.1-inch solid rear discs. As far as that 60-0 stopping distance goes, it comes in at 120 feet, which is pretty darn respectable, quite honestly. As far as braking feel goes, here we go. It's actually pretty nice. I really like that. Like, definitely leaning on the firmer side. It's a very nice firm braking feel here on the Corolla Cross. Instantly brings you to a stop. And just for reference, after driving over 1,000 cars, 120 foot, that's a really respectable number. Typically when you get to the 1-teens, you're in sports sedan territory. So 120 feet, 100% perfectly fine there. So good job, Toyota. But then touching on suspension and handling, up front you're going to get an independent McPherson strut front suspension. In the back, Torsen beam rear axle for the front wheel drive, independent multi-link rear suspension for the all-wheel drive. So that's going to be a pretty substantial difference there. I'll get more into that in a second, but front stabilizer bar for the front wheel drive, front and rear stabilizer bars for the all-wheel drive. So essentially what I'm trying to say is, because you got the multi-link rear suspension, you're going to get a smoother ride for the all-wheel drive, and also because you have an extra stabilizer bar, you're going to get better handling for the all-wheel drive as well. So if you wanted an overall completely better suspension setup, go with the all-wheel drive. Not that the front-wheel drive is going to be bad, but just overall you're going to get a better better suspension, everything with the all-wheel drive. But overall, as far as ride quality goes, in my short little test drive here today, honestly think it's been pretty darn great compared to the competition. That's something I always say with Toyota Corolla and the Corolla Cross is something Toyota does differently than the competitors is they kind of tune their suspension more towards ride quality as opposed to handling. So if you wanted a better handling SUV, maybe go with the Honda HR-V or the Honda Civic. If you wanted a more smooth ride, go with the Corolla or the Corolla Cross. And that's what I prefer at this stage of my life. I want a smooth ride, so this is where it's at for me. So I'm a big fan of that. As far as steering feel goes, it's on the looser side of things. It's not as heavy of a steering feel as like a Mazda CX-30, Mazda CX-50, or any of the Honda variants as well. But we'll say it's something that I would be perfectly fine with living with over time. So it's nothing that would bother me. It's not horrible. It's just not quite as heavy of a steering feel as some of the competition. As far as cabin noise goes, going 46 miles per hour right now. I'll let you guys be the judge here as we come to a stop. It's been perfectly fine. I don't have any issues with the cabin noise either. And touching rear visibility, looking at my rear view mirror there, I can see perfectly fine out the back, so you 100% should not have any issues with that either. But that pretty much rounds out the performance segment of this review, you guys. Let's now go ahead and take a look at the exterior of our brand new 2026 Toyota Corolla Cross. All right, so here she is, you guys, the new 2026 Toyota Corolla Cross, finished in Windchill Pearl, in case you wanted our exact exterior color name. But like I said at the beginning of the video, there is a new color for the 2026 Corolla Cross. It is called Cavalry Blue, which I believe they have had for quite a while now, but it's new to the Corolla Cross. I'll just put it that way. But anyways, let's go ahead and start with where the Corolla Cross is made. Taking a look at the VIN, first character is the number 7, indicating that the Corolla Cross is built and assembled here in the US. So starting up front, let me start with a new grille pattern for the 2026 model year. Let me go ahead and get up a little bit closer here. It is going to be a black front grille, but if you guys remember last year, it was a bunch of smaller little honeycomb mesh kind of design, but now it's a little chunkier. It's finished in a matte black with the gloss black accent piece on the upper portion of it. So it's definitely different. So let me know what you guys think of the new front grille for the Corolla Cross in the comments below. But to the sides, full LED projector style headlights do come standard. Get LED daytime running lights with those. You get the automatic feature. You also get automatic high beams. So if you have your high beams on at night and it senses the vehicle coming in the opposite direction, it's going to automatically dim them back to low beams. Then when that vehicle is gone, it's going to automatically bounce it back up the high beams for you there. And then you guys can see towards the bottom there, LED fog lights. They actually come only on the XLE trim level that we have with us here today. So I'm glad I got to show them to you guys at least, but that pretty much rounds out the front end. Let's now go ahead and swing around to the side. All right, now making our way to the side of the Corolla Cross. There is some new stuff for the side of this one as well. Starting up top, black roof rails coming with the LE and XLE trims. Rear privacy glass coming with all trim levels across the board. You're either going to get silver or gloss black upper window trim. Essentially the silver slash, I think it's chrome actually, but the chrome upper window trim is only going to be for the XLE trim level. And let me get up a little bit closer here yet again so I can show you guys the little Corolla Cross lettering found on the back portion of it. And since I'm back here, you also get Corolla Cross lettering found on the rear taillight there as well. So I thought that was pretty cool. Hopefully you guys can see that. But then taking a look at the side mirrors, they're going to be matte black power adjustable side mirrors for that L trim level, gloss black for the LE and XLE trims, and then you're going to get integrated turn signals for those two trim levels. And they are actually heated, the side mirrors, for all trim levels across the board, which that's pretty cool. I like that. But then taking a look down at the wheel setup, new designs for 2026. You get 17-inch steel wheels with covers for the L, 17-inch silver painted alloys for the LE, and then 18-inch machine slash dark gray metallic finish alloys for the XLE trim that we have with us here today. So last year it was like a double 5-spoke design. This year it's like a double 6-spoke. Yeah, double 6-spoke design. So definitely a new look. I like them. I think they still look good, but that pretty much rounds out the side profile. Let's now go ahead and swing around to the back. All right, so now since we are around to the back of this one, starting all the way to the top, you're going to find a matte black shark fin antenna. Just below that, rear spoiler. I feel like they need an integrated brake light in that rear spoiler that they don't have, but I guess it looks good either way. But rear window wiper also affixed to the rear glass there. Get LED taillights for all trim levels across the board. They look good as well. Get trim level badging found on the rear tailgate. So if you wander onto a Toyota lot, maybe on a Sunday, that is where you're going to want to go ahead and look. But just below it all, you will actually find a little body colored piece right in the middle of it all. I wanted to give that to you guys. That looks pretty darn good. And then just below all of that, a single exhaust outlet tucked away underneath. So having said that, I do believe you guys know what we have to do next here. as always, here is that exhaust clip. And some analysis, we are around to the back of the Corolla Cross. When it comes to opening that rear liftgate, it actually is a manual liftgate for all trim levels across the board. However, there is a power liftgate available with the convenience package, but that's the only way you're going to get a power liftgate. Just wanted to let you guys know that. But once opened up, cargo capacity comes in at 26.5 cubic feet. If that was not enough space, of course, the rear seats do fold down. There is a 60-40 split, bumping that up to 66 cubic feet. Then there is a cargo cover back there only with the XLE trim levels, but you still do have grocery bag hooks. There's some tie-down anchors back there. Then if you were to lift up underneath of the cargo floor, you will find a spare tire, which you guys know I always love to see. But then make your way up to the rear legroom. That comes in at 32 inches even. For reference, I'm even 6 feet tall. This is how much space I had in the rear seats there. Rear ventilation does come standard for all trim levels across the board. You got to appreciate that. Rear center armrest with cup holders for the XLE trim level only. And then if you wanted dual rear USB charging ports for the rear passengers, go with the LE or the XLE trim levels. The L's not going to get it. But then make your way up to the front seats, manually adjustable cloth seats for the L and LE trims, 10-way power driver's seat with power lumbar for the XLE. And I can tell you guys, the power lumbar was definitely very adjustable, so I didn't have any issues there. Softex upholstery though for the XLE, heated front seats for the XLE trim level as well. Overall, as far as seat comfort goes, it was perfectly fine on my short little test drive here today, so no issues there. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the steering wheel. It is tilt and telescoping. It's going to be wrapped in urethane for the L, but then leather wrapped for the LE and XLE trims. We actually also have a heated steering wheel. That button's located just in front of the shifter there, but I was surprised to see that. That was pretty stinking cool, so big fan there. But now let's go ahead and make our way to the startup. Let me start by showing you guys the key here. You got your Toyota logo on the bottom, but lock and unlock, pretty basic key there. But it is all keyless entry with a push button start for the LE and XLE trims. Otherwise, you're going to get a turnkey start for the L. So in our case, all I'm going to do here is simply put my foot on the brake and press that black engine start button located just by the driver's right knee there. And so once started up, when it comes to the gauges, for the L and LE trims, you're going to get analog gauges with a 4.2-inch screen. It's a pretty basic setup there, but it gets the job done, of course. And then there is a 7-inch full digital gauge cluster for the XLE. That's what you guys are looking at right there. And that one looks pretty darn good. I do like that, but you can, of course, choose different things to display up there if you wanted to. There are steering wheel mounted controls found on the left side of the steering wheel. That gives you things like your average MPGs. There's a digital speed readout, outside temperature, how many miles you have left until you hit empty. So pretty much everything you could possibly need on a gauge cluster. But now let's go ahead and make our way to overall interior quality. A power moonroof is going to be a $940 option for the LE and the XLE trims, or you can get it with the convenience package as well, but we don't have any of that, so we don't have a moonroof with us here today. Auto dimming rear view mirror for the XLE, dual zone climate control for the XLE trim level as well, so both driver and passenger can set their own temperatures. You're going to get a single automatic climate control if you went with that LE trim level, which is still plenty fine, honestly. I wouldn't have an issue with that. Wireless phone charger then for the LE and XLE trims. That's located just in front of the shifter here. Overhead LED lighting. I like this because it looks almost exactly like Mercedes-Benz in terms of the design, so I thought that was a pretty nice little touch there. And this whole center console here surrounding the shifter, this is all new for the 2026 model year. However, in my personal opinion, so take it for what it's worth, not for the better. So everything surrounding the shifter is all finished now in a matte black, whereas last year, if I remember correctly, it was finished in a gloss black, which I personally prefer. It's a more high-end look. This is kind of a cheaper look, but it gets the job done nonetheless. I just prefer last year's design in terms of this center console, but you do have an electromechanical parking brake just to the left of the shifter. Just behind that, you have dual cup holders, and then within the center armrest, a little bit of storage in there. There's a 12-volt power outlet and a USB charging port as well. Overall, as far as interior quality goes, I would just change the center console here back to last year's version, but everything else looks okay. I mean, the power window buttons as well, they could probably finish that in a silver finish perhaps instead of just a matte black. That would make it look a little more high-end without forking out much cost on their end, I would imagine. So that I would probably change as well. And it would be cool to see kind of some ambient lighting, at least on the XLE trim maybe. But anyways, let's now go ahead and make our way to the infotainment screen here. 8-inch color touchscreen display for the L and LE trim levels, but there is a new 10.5-inch color touchscreen display for the XLE. It's going to be available for the LE trim level, but we do have that with us here today. And yes, this is new for the 2026 Corolla Cross, so let's go ahead and check it out. But you do get Bluetooth and audio streaming either way, wireless, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. You can check out your driving statistics up there as well through trip information. You can also check out your radio information, so let me go ahead and turn that on real quick. As far as the sound system goes, you get 6 speakers coming standard for all trim levels across the board. However, there is an optional 9-speaker JBL sound system that goes for $900. It's optional on the XLE, an option we do not have with us here today. So we do have the 6 speakers with us here, so let's go ahead and turn on the radio. Let's see what we got playing today, and let's test out the clarity of this one. All right, 2 things there. 1, that was an above average 6-speaker sound system for sure. Definitely a good amount of bass, more so than I expected. However, I would like a volume knob. That's the one thing I was looking for to start out with. The volume controls are just at the very bottom of this infotainment screen, and you essentially have to keep pressing it in a bunch of times, or you can hold it in, that's fine too, but still, it's a lot quicker and a lot easier with a volume knob. That's maybe just my personal preference, but something I would prefer. Sound system though, definitely not too bad for 6 speakers. But last thing I wanted to mention to you guys on the infotainment screen is when you do put the Corolla Cross in reverse, you will find a rear view camera. It does take up the entire screen, believe it or not. Usually with the bigger screens, it doesn't do that. So props to Toyota for doing that. I like that. But that, of course, lets you know who or what is behind you, which is always going to lead us into safety. And so let me start with the best part. The Corolla Cross is an IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus, which is the very highest designation given by IIHS. A wonderful start right there. Front side curtain airbags do come standard. You get a driver's knee airbag up front as well. Also, you get rear side impact airbags. I'll have you know that's a $350 option on Mercedes-Benz and BMW. So I still love the fact that Toyota gives that to you for free. So thank you again, Toyota. In the back also, you get latch, aka lower anchors and tethers for children for the rear car seats, rear child door locks, top pressure monitoring system, but also coming standard, Toyota Safety Sense 3.0 that gives you a pre-collision system with pedestrian detection, proactive driving assist, dynamic radar cruise control, lane departure alert with steering assist, lane trace assist, road sign assist, and then if you were to go with the LE or XLE trim levels, you're also going to get a blind spot monitoring system with rear cross traffic alert, so it lets you know in your side mirrors if somebody's in your blind spot. Also, safe exit assist with those 2 trims then as well. But overall, when it comes to my final thoughts here of the Corolla Cross, first and foremost, if you're buying this car, the first thing that's going to pop into your mind should be reliability. This thing is perhaps the most reliable SUV in existence. It's got the Toyota Corolla motor in it, and you guys know that car goes 200, 300,000 miles easily, so you gotta appreciate that. Also, good starting price point at $24,000. That's really good these days. Very good safety. You can't beat an IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus. If I were to give then 2 constructive criticisms on this thing, it is a bit slow, of course, but having said that, like I said during the acceleration test, it is something that you're more than likely going to get used to, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue there. Also, for the L and the LE trim levels, you get an extremely boring gauge cluster. I've seen that gauge cluster. I can't show it to you guys in this video, but it's really boring. It's probably the worst gauge cluster in existence. It's just black and white analog gauges. So also, I don't like the new console, Toyota. And I'm just being honest here. There's too much matte black. It's too cheapy looking. Like, at least put some kind of a silver design like Hyundai and Kia do for their less expensive vehicles. They at least give a nice texturized design to it. It can be plastic, that's fine. Just not this matte black boring plastic. That's all I'm saying. But let me know what you guys think of the Corolla Cross in the comment section below. That's about it for this one, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to follow me on social media stuff. If you wanted to see what's coming next on the channel before it gets to YouTube, be sure to hit the subscribe and the bell notification button. If you're into new car reviews, that is what I've been doing here for 11 years now. Do appreciate you guys watching more than you know, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Stay gold.